Hi everyone, my name is Jennifer Holmes and I am studying to receive my master's degree in human service counseling at Liberty University. In this professional field, I know I will need the interpersonal communication skills that I have studied for the past 8 weeks. Interpersonal communication will address the exchange of information that I will have with my clients, whether it be two or more. I will be able to engage with my clients more effectively in communicating and listening. I will be covering my overarching goal, my behavior blend, any communication barriers I have come across in my journey, my strategies on how I overcome those barriers as well. I will then discuss my action plan that will work best for me in my present and in my future. So let's talk about my overarching goal. It is to listen and communicate in a way that people will feel comfortable with sharing their feelings and concerns. I want to be respectful to their needs without being in judgment. I want my actions as a human service counselor, a friend, a sister, a mom, and a daughter to reflect how Christ is daily to his people, which is understanding, loving, and kind, of course. I know that this goal can be obtained with much prayer and studying. So I worked with the public with every job that I've had. But for the past 7 years, I've worked as a property manager. So with the property manager comes listening and communicating on a daily basis with your residents. And no two residents are ever the same. So the amount of residents that I've come across or that I interact with, I encounter all types of situations that have me listening at different levels of efficiency throughout the day. So let's talk interpersonal communication. According to the relational perspective view, interpersonal communication is defined as that communication occurs between two people who have seen a clear relationship between the two, such as the communication of two brothers, teachers, and student lovers, and others. But in order to communicate, you have to first be able to listen. So Burley Allen gave 3 levels of listening that I could relate to. So level 1 was empathetic listening, refraining from judging the talker and placing themselves in others' position, which is put myself in their position when they're talking to me and I'm listening to them. And level 2, hearing words but not really listening. At this level, people stay at the surface of the communication and do not understand the deeper meanings of what is being said. So then we have level 3, which is listening in spurts. And I'm guilty of this one. Tuning in and out. Being somewhat aware of others, but mainly paying attention to oneself. So I may catch the beginning of your conversation, but somewhere around the middle, I done tuned you out. So at the end, I'm like, what did you say? So with doing my behavioral blend, I learned a few things about myself. But first, let's talk about what the behavioral blend is. It consists of 4 DISC personality type behaviors. So the D is the active, task-oriented. The I is the active, people-oriented. The S is the passive, people-oriented. And the C is the passive, task-oriented. Behavior blend helps me understand why I often feel, think, and act the way that I do. So my makeup for my behavioral blend on my Uniquely Yours profile was people expect me to be both inspiring and submissive. I am more people-oriented than task-oriented. Others see me as the perfect people person. I'm very emotional, and that is true. I wear my heart on my sleeve. I have the motivation of helping others, and my strength is my people skills. I've given you what my overarching goal is, so let's talk the communication barriers that I have with this. I always run across certain barriers, and one is trying to get my point across to people, and the other is trying to understand the other person that I'm conversing with their point of view. I find when I'm trying to get my point across, it seems to come across stern, and the person listening does not receive it well. Because when I talk with a passion. So, the conversation kind of shifts when that person is not receiving me. Stewart states, if by expression, manner of speech, tone of voice, or verbal content, the sender, which is me, seems to be evaluating or judging the listener, then the receiver goes on guard. So my other barrier is trying to understand the other person's communication other person's communicating their point of view without showing facial expressions. So you know how we look when we don't understand what someone is saying and it shows on our face. Like when they say something, we like, what? That's what I'm talking about. Those are two things that I struggle with. So, but with every struggle or barrier, there is a solution. So, what I studied to be a helpful strategy is removing myself and putting myself in the other person's shoes. How would I feel if someone was talking to me as if I don't understand, or if I'm talking with someone and before I get my entire conversation out, they're looking as if they don't understand what I'm talking about? When I start to realize that it makes me be more patient with conversation, and I can communicate in a way that is receptive to others, and they can receive me better. When I effectively listen, then I won't have to look as if I don't understand. We listen with our senses to understand the communication being uttered. Our goal is to understand what is being uttered. We want to understand the words and sentences, and through this understanding, retrieve the intent the speaker had while he or she communicated. So at some point, I'll use Stewart's concept of the inhaling and the exhaling theory. When we inhale information, we process it, and then we communicate it back to others. So my strategies would be to stop, focus on the person, their thoughts and their feelings, look, pay attention to nonverbal messages without being distracted. Listen for the essence of the speaker's thoughts, the details, the major ideas, and their meanings. Be empathetic. Imagine how you would feel in their circumstances, which is what we talked about earlier. Ask questions. Ask a lot of questions. Clarify your understanding. Make sure you know what they're asking or what's being said so you can be able to communicate back to them. Paraphrase. If you don't have any specific questions to ask, you may choose to repeat back to the speaker what was told to you. So to enlarge my conversation and to make my goal a reality, I know that I have and need to work on my listening skills, and my communication will come across more receptive. Peterson talked about the talker listening card. Using this focuses us to observe the roles that we play. So this process forces me to take turns with the other person in talking and listening, which will eliminate any misunderstanding, because if they're talking, I'm listening. When I'm listening, they're doing the talking. I will also consider the feelings of others when I'm communicating, always keeping Christ at the forefront. I will learn to ask questions to make sure that I have understanding of what is being said so that I can give an honest and open statement back to the other party. While they're talking, it's their turn to speak, and I will refrain from interrupting them. Focus on what they're saying and not what I'm already going to say back to them. So in my conclusion, words are singularly the most powerful force available to humanity. We can choose to use this force constructively with words of encouragement or destructively using words of despair. Words have energy and power with the ability to help, to heal, to hinder, to hurt, to harm, to humiliate, and to humble. And as my pastor always says, that the power of the tongue is a very powerful sword, and it can cut and slice people. So be very cautious of what you say to people. Yehunderberg. Thank you.